Tradition tells us a woman by the name of Veronica approached Jesus as he made his way to Calvary. Fighting her way through the crowd, she knelt before him and took a cloth to wipe his brow. This was a face that was bruised and battered, disfigured by repeated blows, seemingly a far cry from that which was transfigured on Mount Tabor. The prophet Isaiah had long before told us of the face that Veronica would encounter. He had no form or comeliness that we should look at him, and no beauty that we should desire him. In the scene we have before us today, Veronica does not hide from this figure of mockery. She goes out to meet him, face to face. But who is this Veronica? What are we to make of this encounter mentioned nowhere in the Gospels? Veronica's anonymity is perhaps the tradition's way of inviting us directly into this scene. It is a moment of profound intimacy, a meeting face to face, a reciprocal exchange, and as such, it is a model of prayer in the Christian life. Veronica here can play for us the role of a meditative placeholder, inviting us to take her place so that we too may learn what it is to pray. This station is first and foremost a meeting. The simplicity of Father Aelred's depiction places all the focus on the two characters involved. No Roman soldiers, no crowds pressing past, no noise, no distractions, just a sacred and silent moment between Christ and Veronica. A folk etymology of the word reconciliation connects it to the Latin for eyelid, cilium. A moment of reconciliation is when the eyelids are brought back together, when two people meet face to face. It is desire for this moment that the psalmist captures, the great longing of the devout men and women of the Old Testament. Your face, O Lord, do I seek. Hide not your face from me. This, then, is the bedrock of all prayer, an encounter face to face. We do not go to pray simply to find inner peace or to think nice thoughts or even just to solve difficult problems. We go to pray to seek God, and it is in seeking that we find all that we could desire. But what is it to seek God truly? What is it that motivated Veronica to push through the crowds and approach the most notorious man in Jerusalem, stumbling beneath the weight of his cross? To seek God is, of course, to love God, to love with a love of desire, to let ourselves be drawn to God as our supreme good. That goodness may be very obscure, it may indeed be hidden beneath wounds and disfigurement and brokenness. But just a glimpse is enough to reveal that that goodness alone can satisfy the depths of our heart. And it was that glimpse that drew Veronica. She was moved by love. And it is, of course, the same movement to which Christ calls each of us at the end of St. Matthew's Gospel. Truly, I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these my brethren, you did it to me. Our prayer is not limited to the silence of our rooms. As Cassian put it, whoever is in the habit of praying only when the knees are bent prays very little. Charity both draws us to prayer and is the fruit by which we express it. Prayer is charity. To pray as Veronica in this situation is not just to see beauty in disfigurement, divinity amidst distress. It is also to let our prayer express itself in concrete acts of love to each in their need. So, in prayer we go to meet God, and through prayer we are drawn into the divine love. But there is also a final aspect of this scene as a school of prayer, and it relates to that most famous part of it, where the name Veronica comes from, which means true image. For Veronica wiped Jesus' brow with a cloth, and on it was left the true image of his face. In life, we occupy ourselves with many images and idols, things that we adore or fear in place of God. In a mild form, these are our household gods, our means of distraction, the empty satisfactions of passing desires. At worst, they are the masks we project onto God, templates we apply to him, fitting God into our own narratives, the ones we want to tell of our own lives, rather than taking part in God's story, letting God be God. To seek God truly is to leave behind these masks and templates. It is to empty ourselves so that Christ, God's human face, may live in us. Veronica here teaches us that in prayer we approach God as the wax and not as the seal. We are created in his image and likeness, and it is in prayer that what has been lost through sin is recreated and remoulded. The life of charity is renewed and replenished. In prayer we meet God, and we gain a glimpse of that moment when, having passed through the Calvary and resurrected with Christ, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is.